Alright, hello and welcome everyone. This is 5-Star General,
This is Raelcun.
and we're here today with day one of the little mini tournament we're going to have this week, all this week. And we've seen just about everyone in here except for Steve Budd. So also, and Jamus. Jamus seems to be snoozing. Not really sure why that's happening. So we've asked our good friend Tex here to come ahead and do a and Tex making a good point here in the chat about what's more important in life, esports or your hot ass wife. I guess Tex has got that one solved. But anyway, Tex nonetheless though is probably going to go ahead and hop in here for Jamus, who is suspiciously absent. So thank you, Tex, for going ahead and helping us out here today.
Yeah, it's good to see him along. Of course, we always joke about how he just sort of is an orc. So it's interesting, hear him talking about his hot ass wife. Cause, well, it's hard to imagine an orc sitting there folding clothes, doing house stuff for his wife. But I guess he's comfortable with his identity as an orc to do that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, orcs not wogging? What is that?
Maybe he was while he drives to the grocery store. I don't know.
Or maybe that's another time.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I didn't say anything. What am I talking about? I'm talking about when they pick up choppas and go to war. It's so much better, you know?
Of course.
Chopping people's heads off. Much less explicit. Alright, so we have a veto of Calderis and a veto of
Seawall.
GTG, so Seawall, alrighty.
Oh my god, I'm completely surprised. I would have never guessed that we would wind up on this map.
I mean, I know. I mean, it's brand new to Retribution, isn't it? And I mean, no one's really played it yet.
I mean, everybody hates it. I mean, come on.
And it's just the worst map in the game, and everything is so wrong with it. And eventually we're going to get over that. Oh, apparently I have to re-invite Steve Budd. He still seems to be there. I don't know. I'm going to try inviting him one more time. Just before we get this going, make sure we've got everyone here. Would be awesome. But if not, then Steve Budd should be back by the time
Tex
for the next
is actually going to play SM.
So...
I thought he was just faking us out, and then he'd switch over to Wah more
Yeah,
Daka.
no, he actually we have a replay that we're gonna show after this it's actually a Space Marine mirror with text in it, so I'm interested to see how it plays out because I haven't gotten a chance to take a look at it myself yet. We're just gonna go ahead and do a straight cast of it, but so he seems to be working on his Space Marine lately. I just played him a couple days ago when he was playing Imperial Guard. I was playing Orc, so it was kind of lolsy, but.
I find it amusing that, you can see his orc shining through in chat where he calls them the big armor boys.
AKA the Green Tide also. The Green Tide of Green Armor. Actually, I haven't really tried a super green color scheme on them yet, but...
Yeah, I wonder if... Does he have them green? Like, does he go that far?
Well, he's got his Space Marines blue and white in the right corner. So that's where Texas spawned in as a Force Commander. On the left side, we've got Edtjuh as the Ravener Alpha.
Yeah, not too surprising to see a Ravener Alpha, just because the just the pure amount of mobility you get with that hero is just incredible. In the hands of a really good player, you can just do really nasty things. Of course, you can now see tunnels on the mini-map, which you didn't used to be able to do, but still, that just being able to move around that quickly is just always going to be powerful in almost any situation.
Yeah, although we did see on a couple Fridays ago on the show, actually, Assume basically illustrated to us that all three Tyranny Commanders can be pretty damn good. When you really get to using them. So he showed us all three are great, but we're going to see Edtjuh go ahead here with the Ravener Alpha, which is pretty interesting because we've seen him play quite a bit of Warp Spider Exarch lately. So that kind of fits pretty well with that. It's I don't want to say a similar hero, but I guess a little more similar than a lot of other heroes.
Yeah, it's like you get the really high mobility from the Ravener Alpha, and then it's just sort of like instead of having to upgrade the teleport armor, you can just throw down a tunnel and move your army with you. You can, if your opponent doesn't kill those tunnels, if you're able to keep them in safe positions, you can continue to use them throughout the game. So there's this interesting mechanic of not only just having really high mobility, but where do you place those tunnels? Do you place them where they're going to die in 5 seconds, but it gets you a really nice troop movement? Or do you put it where you can keep it alive the entire game and continue to use it over and over again?
And we see right now, actually, the tunnel placement is right by Edtjuh's natural requisition node. So it's providing him some nice defense there, some capability to get to that pretty quickly if he needs to, maybe prevent a ninja decap. But also, it's a little bit far back, so he actually has to be pushed back there. So he does seem to be opting for the safe tunnels for now. Meanwhile, we see that Tex has gone with a tactical space marine and a scout so far, and that's just about it. He's at 500 requisition now, so he's probably looking at something else. Fair bit of power, so maybe
Force
looking
Commander!
at space marines. The Force Commander's retreating, low on health, and he goes down. And Tex saying, "Oh wow, I don't think he really expected that somehow." I'm not quite sure how he didn't expect that, but did not expect it.
He was using it to really just terrorize Edtjuh at the beginning of the game here, and you could see the difference was, oh well, you know, that toxin sack kind of made his life difficult for him, and he didn't retreat soon enough. So it could just be a symptom of him not having enough practice with the Force Commander, seeing as he is the big DACA guy.
Definitely. And, you know, I mean, I mentioned I played against him as Imperial Guard the other day, and, you know, he seems to be trying out new things. So when he goes to these different races and he plays them, he doesn't seem to be just trying to go and play the standard way that the race is usually played by regular players of the race. He really seems to be trying to mix things up. So definitely look for that. And
Ooh.
And we see a scout model there go down to a crippling poison and warriors, and here we have a little bit more before tunnel coming out, disgorging right on top of some tactical space marines, and again a crippling poison with these hormigons just tearing into these tacks. Tex is not retreating, he's trying to wait for Force Commander support. The other tac squad is supporting from the far side, and now all the termagants are here in this tunnel, and but these hormigons are in trouble, but the tacs are getting out. They've lost at least 2 models. That's going to hurt Tex a lot more than it hurts Edtjuh here.
Yeah, you could see that, you know, Edtjuh was expecting Tex to run away at any second there because he was in quite a lot of danger, so he almost lost his Hormigaunt squad just playing chicken with him. But like you said, tacticals cost a hell of a lot more to reinforce than just gaunts. And there's another tunnel down here, so he's got these all over the place at the moment. The one next to that wreck point did get taken down, and now he's got his Force Commander on this new one.
Oh, he's tunneling to the back of the power farm.
Ooh.
He's just going to go, and we see Tex actually just had this taken out, and he rebuilt it, and we're seeing that immediately Edtjuh is going for it. And at this point, I'm not really sure if he's gunning for it specifically to cut Tex's power, or if he's just going to make him continue to have to spend 125 requisition to just keep rebuilding this thing.
And it's interesting, you know, he went for this power farm, and there's no gens here, which has to be what he's not expecting at the moment. These tacticals are going to get caught in the entire shooty blob of the Tyranid army and get forced away, but you can see that right now, without that much power income, Tex doesn't really have anything to deal with the mass Termagants and the Ravener, so he's just having a field day with Tex until he can get some sort of, you know, suppression or assault squad out on the field.
By the same token, though, it doesn't really seem to be that Tex is actually attempting to grab any Tier 1 tech. He seems to just be doing his best to get by with almost nothing in Tier 1 and try to fast tech to Tier 2. Thing is, though, Edtjuh's already almost ready to go to Tier 2 at this point, so I'm not quite sure how well that's going to work out for him. Because you see this one tac squad is holding out pretty well. Scouts are flanking. It would be nice to see some a sergeant or something on those scouts be able to at least toss a grenade and maybe break up the blob a bit. At least force Edtjuh to dodge. But
yeah, I mean, that would help a lot, like you said. But if you look over, you can see that the warriors have the adrenal glands, or the health synapse already. So if those are just hanging out with the shooty blob, that's going to be giving them a decent bonus, even though they don't give the shooting amplifier that the Venom Broods do.
Yeah. And we do see that actually just even without the synapse here, very much here, these Termagants just holding the power farm pretty well so far. And Tex is still about 23, 22 power away from tier 2. We do see his Force Commander now moving in the bottom. Again, though, Crippling Poison here, just lining him up for these Warriors, and the Hormigons just come back in and really hurt him, but the attacks are now coming to support. He may be able to pull out of this actually, may be able to snipe a Warrior model if he's lucky.
Yeah, it looks like he's going for it, but he's just not able to chop enough health off of those. His tacticals are going to be forced away. So Force Commander's alone. He's going to have to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, Battlecry just wore off.
You don't want to be trying to retreat against Leaping Warriors and the Leaping Hormigons. He's not even retreating. He's just running straight back to his base.
I know, he is retreating. It's a little bit of a bug. On my screen, it's got the retreat symbol up.
I didn't see a retreat icon. I was like, are you really just legging it? Okay, that's a little bit more comforting.
Meanwhile, though, we do see Edtjuh is backing off a little bit, giving a little bit of space to Tex here. And Tex is asking Swarm Lord yet? Which may actually explain why he is so concerned about not spending very much power at all in Tier 1. Although I think in this case, spending a little bit of power would have saved him some power, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, versus some other races, maybe, but the Tyranids really do have to spend quite a bit of power in Tier 1 just to sort of get by. If they try to play this power chicken game that Tex is playing right now, they generally tend to lose. They've got to upgrade all of their starting squads. You can see he's got 2 squads of Warriors out on the field, which, is a little bit more than what you might normally see from a Tyranid player, but you can definitely go for some power in Tier 1 and not be behind against a Tyranid, because they have to spend a decent amount.
Yeah, and we also see basically just about full upgrades on almost all of these squads, except for that Termagant that is capping up there. And yeah, again, another Warrior squad. Edtjuh just spent so much in Tier 1, and yet he's actually pretty close to being able to fast tech to Tier 3 here anyway. It seems like the comment from Tex about the Swarm Lord may not be too far off after all, actually.
Yeah, and if you look at it, that's probably just because of the fact that he's kept Tex pushed back almost this entire game. He's had pretty much free control of the center for quite a long time, and that's a lot of power, that's a lot of requisition. If you can hold most of these nodes for a long portion of the game here on Seawall, so that's why he's going to be able to get up to Tier 3 here pretty soon. If you look at it, he's just a little bit short on the requisition, more than enough power, and that's a result of just continually pushing Tex out of the center here.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Edtjuh's been able to keep Tex. I guess it's the best defense is a good offense, and so we are seeing that Edtjuh is teching at Tier 3 right now. He's actually decapped Tex's natural requisition node. A little interesting.
He's actually capping it.
Yeah, we actually had seen a little interesting thing that Tex had managed to actually get all the way down to Edtjuh's natural requisition node at some point to decap that. That's only just maturing back up to 20 and 25 right now.
That might have been a little bit of the scouts sneaking around, as I didn't see that. They don't have their sergeant, so I don't think they can really infiltrate around, but the scouts are kind of an easy squad to lose track of. If they're being careful about where they're going on the map, you can just sort of run them around even without infiltrate and just have them on unexpected points on the map. So you can see, once again, the Force Commander is in quite a lot of trouble, completely surrounded by all the Warriors and the Hormigont squad. He's going to have to get the hell out of here. It doesn't look like he's going to.
I think Tex said GJ. I think he really meant GG, and that is 500-0. Good game. And that is the game for Tex there, unfortunately. Just not able to do anything against that Ravner Alpha at all. I just want to make a quick correction, by the way. Infiltrate is its own upgrade, not tied to Sergeant.
Okay.
For Scouts.
Yeah. I don't really play Space Marines, so... Plus, I'm still kind of a noob at this game. But it's interesting. Tex went for that. I'm not going to spend any power. And as you can see, you do have to spend some power to get through Tier 1, because if you do that and your opponent does a good job of playing, realizing what you're doing, and just capitalizing on it, which is what Edtjuh was doing. He was spending much more than you'd normally see in Tier 1, but he kind of caught on that Tex wasn't spending anything. So he just went for a really, really strong early game. You can see Tex eventually made it to Tier 2, but didn't even have enough time to get anything out before he lost the game, so I'm not entirely sure what he was going for there.
He said something about, oh, he's going to play Orc tomorrow, so that'll be, I guess, a little more interesting. So we're going to see Tex coming in off his back foot here then to try and get into the finals, which I don't really think that's quite what any of us expected. Even though it was last minute and everything, we've only really seen Tex come in here and dominate. So
maybe he felt that he had to handicap himself. Maybe, I don't know. I'm kidding. But who do we have coming up next?
Well, it should be Kelsey and Steve Budd. Trying to get Steve Budd in here. So let me go ahead and pop him another invite.
I could use an invite too.
Oh, wow, what happened to you? Alright, yeah, we'll go ahead and get an invite for Raelcun because, very tough to cast the game without being in the game. There we go, got Steve in here, and there we go.
I think I hit the wrong button.
Awesome, so we've got the match we won. Oh, wow, Kelsey has swapped over to Imperial Guard, maybe. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Not what I expected at all. No, he's going back to Ravenor Alpha Tyranids. There we go, that's what I expected. Marth753, this is Dawn of War 2. Everyone in iCCup, this is Dawn of War 2. This is the Dawn of War 2 dailies. I'm 5-star General, and this is Raelcun over here. You guys
Hello.
Might be a little more familiar with him.
I'm filling in for Lokar, who's on spring break. What a slacker, that guy. Come on.
Yeah, I hope he's having fun, But we're all making sacrifices for him right now. Oh, no, not really. Well, okay, maybe you are a little bit. It's fun, though.
Yeah, Dawn of War 2 is a fun game. It's much different than StarCraft 2. The way I always explain it to people is that it's squad-based. So theoretically, there's less micro involved, but the squads never do what you want them to do, so there's way more micro trying to get the AI to do what you intend them to. So it usually gets a chuckle out of the Dawn of War 2 players, and then everybody else is like, what? But, it gets us there in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of AI issues is, in some ways, it kind of feels like Brood War.
Well, it's like
almost.
in Brood War, like with Dragoons, how they never did what you wanted to. So while everybody made fun of Protoss being just the 1A race, the good Protoss players had to be able to know how to make the Dragoons what they wanted them to, or else they just sort of stood there going, "Durr," and just kind of idling around, not doing a single thing. So it's kind of the same thing. The AI issues kind of just lead to a little bit more of a skill cap involved.
Yeah, it definitely makes you, especially now there's a new bug that's come up in Retribution where you go and tell your squad to capture a point, and then they just won't do it, and you'll be going and doing other stuff, and you'll be doing all this stuff, and you're microing everything. All of a sudden you realize you've got this idle capping squad, and you're like, oh my god, why are my SCVs standing idle?
Yeah, it's like, I'm trying to get back into this game, I'm trying to learn it again, and I'll be playing a game, and I'll look over at that point, okay, that should be capped by now, and my squad's just standing there, and I'm like, oh my god, I hate you, and it's horrible, because, I'm still trying to learn the game again, and there's that, before I knew about the bug, it's like, am I really that bad at this game? Did I miss the point? And then I was like, okay, no, that's actually a bug, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, no, it's been a constant issue, but I guess the best thing is that bugs like that are kind of, ones that you can overcome, and in some ways they're kind of like, it's what made Brood War just a really great game. No matter what RTS game you played after it, or if you still play Brood War, the skills that you learn in that game and just everything about it was just really awesome because of all that.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of, things that weren't intended that just became part of the game, like hopping over walls with a worker or vultures planting spider mines to get over terrain. But we have actually loaded up the game. We have Steve Budd in the top as Warp Spider Exarch immediately warping towards the center. Be curious to see if he's going to continue warping and go for some early game harassment, which we do see out of a lot of Warp Spider players, and that's what he's going for. He's going to catch the Hormigons on the power node. And this is one of the things that I've learned, if you're against somebody that you're relatively certain is going to be a Warp Spider Exarch, don't send your squishy squad to your power, or else this happens.
Well, I mean, I've heard, actually, that I'm a little mixed on that, actually, because on one hand, if you don't want to take any requisition losses, if you're really a stickler on that, then definitely don't go ahead and send your squishy squad over. But for example, if you need your hero, and that's more valuable to you than, Hormigaunt, let's say he took about 3 losses there, so, if you can do without about 60, a little over 60 requisition, and your hero is just that much more valuable to you in the early game, it may be worth it, but you've really got to weigh the risks. So already, though, we see that Steve Budd has gone ahead and captured 2 victory points, and it seems like he's going to go ahead with this kind of harassing gameplay style, which, we kind of would expect from a Warp Spider Exarch. Very mobile hero. Generally likes to be all over the map. And by the way, we actually see that Kelsey here has not reinforced that Hormigaunt brood. He's just using it to cap right now. So, and ooh, that Guardian's in trouble. It's got 1 of 5 models left. It's retreating. It will get out, though.
Yeah, we had just a little bit of a skirmish between the Ravener and the Guardians over here on the right, and since he was able to chase them away, you can see that Steve doesn't really have anything on this portion of the map, so he's having to pull stuff over. His Banshees and his Warp Spider Exarch are coming over, but even with just some models that aren't very good at gen bashing, he is able to take out one of the quick 3 gens from Steve. Banshee models are going down, but the lack of the crippling poison is going to make it a little bit tough for him to deal with those, but still, the double shooty blob plus the Ravener will be able to force those away. There's spore mines coming up, so you can see that Kelsey really wants to control this space. He really wants to deny the early power for Steve, and we'll see how he can make this work.
We do see the Warp Spider Exarch was trying to get in that building there, but a great job at crippling poison at just the right time kept him out. We're going to see these spore mines just going to push up, force these Guardians to retreat. They're probably not actually going to get it. Oh, they actually do get a suppression blast off on the Guardians. So actually, spore mines have been changed in Retribution. They used to be a little more, I'm going to say, gimmicky. They had 2 modes of detonation. They could either just suppress, or they could blow everything up and go ahead and do like huge amount of damage, but it was on a timer and everything. Now, though, they blow 1 model at a time, and they do about, I think, 45 damage and suppress. So it's still quite good, still quite a lot of damage, but not nearly as gimmicky as they were before, so much more functional unit now, I believe.
Yeah, it takes away a little bit of the, oh my god, I've got spore mines in your retreat path, Q troll face while while your squad just disappears. But it allows you to use them a little bit more tactically, which I think I like in general. So you can see that Steve Budd was finally able to chase him away, but now the crippling poison's up, so these Banshees...
But watch out for the grenade! And they dodged the grenade successfully. A great grenade dodge there by Kelsey. He just saw that immediately and micro those Termagants right away from it.
Yeah, and that's one of those things we were talking about earlier. Just with the way that squads behave, for them to move, they have to consolidate again. So trying to dodge grenades is actually difficult. If you look at these Termagants right there, they split up around this cover. If they're split like that and you tell them to move, the first thing they're going to do is consolidate before they move. So dodging grenades can actually be pretty difficult in this game, and that was really well done.
Yeah, you really have to watch exactly the direction you're going and exactly how you're getting there. And by the way, we still have not seen these Hormigants reinforced yet, so we are seeing that it's perfectly fine for Kelsey to go ahead and have those Hormigants in the early game there, leave them exposed to that Warp Spider harass, because that Warp Spider harass ultimately has done nothing.
Yeah, and if you look at this, you can see Steve Budd setting up an energy shield in the center, really trying to set up a defensive position, but then of course the Raveners just pop up out of nowhere. Supplies! Chase the Guardians out from that energy shield. He had another one up by the other victory point, kind of protecting his gens, but you can see him kind of trying to set up to prevent this hardcore harassment style of Kelsey just by dropping these energy shields, but you can see he's making great use of these tunnels. They're all over the place on the minimap. They're in relatively safe locations. A lot of them are behind cover especially, so that he'll be able to continue to use these throughout the game, and I really like the placement that he's got so far.
Yeah, he's done a really great job of placing these, actually, and this is really going to help him prevent ninja capping. So actually we even see a Termagant spot coming out in the bottom right corner of the map there from one of those down there. And not quite, I'm guessing that's going to go probably for that victory point. But it still has a fair distance to walk. But at the same time, that tunnel doesn't seem like it's going to be destroyed anytime soon, or found anytime soon either. And that's pretty big because these tunnels actually do give off a fair amount of red resource. So not letting those be destroyed means just a little bit later of an autarch, among other things. We do see this Ravener Alpha's in a little bit of trouble, but those Termagants are going to get into the building, and the Ravener Alpha's going to have to retreat out, though.
Yeah, basically those Banshees might have been able to stay in there a little bit longer, but as soon as he saw the Termagants going for the building, he's going to have to get the hell out of there. But I mean, I really like the placement, because if you look at the most dangerous tunnel he has, right near the center, it's right behind that cover. So it's still actually relatively safe. You can see this Warp Spider Exarch keeps jumping into this building on the left side to shut down this left victory point, while he continues to try and take over the center with that energy shield. So he's really trying to go for, I'm just going to hold 2 victory points and deny you the third as his gameplay strategy here in the early game.
Yeah, and we are seeing as well for Kelsey, he really wants to keep pushing this power up here, because the more that he's able to push this power, the more that he forces Steve Budd to go ahead and not play as much of a harass style game. He's got to go ahead and now bring things over to defend it, not be able to concentrate as much on the middle. We've seen a lot of pretty good success of Eldar Warspire players on this show alone in controlling that middle area on this map.
Uh-oh. Jumping into the building against Barb Stranglers.
I mean,
that's not really a good idea.
Well, they don't counter Garrison too badly. We do see they get
they
behind that
counted as
tank.
a grenade. For
I
Garrison.
think they just ignore Garrison, so they don't really do any better or any worse, I think is what it comes down to. Actually, they may do even a little slightly worse. I'm not sure they suppress the Warp Spider Exarch as badly in there. We see Kells, though, is hanging out here in Tier 1 quite a bit, grabbing another Ravener Brood. He's got to watch his Warrior, though. He does get the mid with 145 health, though. Meanwhile, the Hormigons going ahead chasing, but they get nade spiked. They only take, again, 3 losses. It seems like that's the extent to which Steve Budd can take these Hormigons down.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to get 3 of your models, and then I'm going to wait for half the game to replace them. So it's only going to do a little bit of damage. What?
We've got a global bully going down here with these Raveners. They're really trying to take out the Shuriken platform. Really, really going on it, but now they're going to have to go ahead and back out. Those Banshees are going to do a good job of defending the Shuriken platform, but we had...
what did he use on them?
It'll come to me.
I don't remember the name either. So
it begins with a C. Oh man! Someone in chat, anyone in chat, go ahead and let us know what the name of this.
The autarch in the retreat path.
Oh wow, that was really well timed, but unfortunately, just Ravener is such a high health squad. One of the few that are not commander health, or not command. They're still infantry, but still very high health per model.
Yeah, that was a really good call down, excuse me. And if they'd just been a little bit lower health, he would have been able to take out one of the models. Maybe a little bit with the placement as well. As you can see, he just sort of stacked the 4 grenades. When you're going after the retreat pass, you'll see a lot of players just create a really long line of grenades to try and catch them with as many as possible. But he still did a good amount of damage. It was really well timed. So if you're confident with your timing, you can sort of stack up the grenades like that.
Oh, Catalyst was the name of the ability, by the way.
Yay! We remembered with some help. But the Warp Spider Exarch over here just repeatedly knocking back these Termagants while the Guardians can come in and sort of play cleanup. And now the Warp Spider is in the building again, taking pot shots while they retreat. This Warp Spider really likes this building, but somehow, even though this Warp Spider has been over here just being annoying the entire game, Kalzi did manage to get this victory point, which is good for him, because that's kind of the whole idea of having the Warp Spider over here, is to make it difficult for him to pick that up. Oh, and the Ravener comes out of a tunnel and snipes the Warp Spider while he's trying to grab the victory point.
Those tunnels are allowing Kalzi to fight fire with fire thus far, and we are seeing this Autarch is being somewhat neutralized by these Barb Stranglers. I was a little surprised to see them, actually. They're not something that a lot of Tyranid players favor, honestly. Just aren't considered efficient a lot of times outside of like playing against Imperial Guard. But we are seeing them here from Kalzi, and we are seeing that not only were they effective earlier, and by the way, Kelsey
Still
has
power.
the entire gen farm from Steve Budd at this point. But we are seeing these Bar Strangler Warriors are scaling quite well to deal with this Autarch threat. The Autarch was pushed off of the natural wreck point of Kelsey, although it did manage to get a decap off, hence why we see it's maturing again. And we are seeing actually Kelsey is going ahead and just fast tech into tier 3, so that's why we saw...
There's a shooting battle between the two commanders going up in the top left hand of this portion of the map, and the Ravener Alpha is actually losing. They're both undercover, but still, Warp Spider Exarch is going to run away.
But we are seeing that the Warp Spider Exarch has improved targets.
Oh,
and he
no!
just teleports right into the Raveners and Termagants, and oh my, that is not at all where you want to be going when you're a Warp Spider Exarch. In fact, I don't think anything wants to be just walking into the middle of a mid-range blob.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that the Raveners both have the Devour upgrade. There's the toxic shot on the Termagants. That was just plain ugly. Oh, but the Ravener's going to go down to the Banshees.
But the Autarch is in trouble now, too. So we saw the Ravener Alpha go down, but now the Autarch is in trouble with Raveners. The Autarch will get out, though, just because of her insane speed. But otherwise, I mean, I think possibly Kelsey can probably afford that Ravener loss. Although he does seem to be looking for something in tier 3, so that may delay it, and or he may be without his Ravener for a bit. But then again, the greatest function of the Ravener Alpha here... Oh, and we're seeing Catalyst go down again now on this Ravener Brood. We're really going to have to see Bud watch out here. Oh, nice little nade spike. He's not going to be able to get the one Ravener out. It got a Ravener. Very nice. Steve Budd making the best of that battle. We actually saw Catalyst go down and not do nearly as much as I believe that Kelsey would like it to do. And then we saw the great nade spike by Steve Budd. You know, again, as you were mentioning before, it's just sometimes it's very, very tough, if not impossible, to dodge some grenade spikes. And I think that was one of them.
If you look around the map, I mean, there's not really a big priority in reviving his Ravener Alpha at the moment. He's already got tunnels in really excellent positions all over the map. He's got a really nice army excluding his Alpha. So if he is just saving straight for a Swarm Lord, he can probably just hang out and not revive that unless the tunnels start going down all around the map. Then he'll probably have to be like, oh, whatever. But in that time he's waiting, of course, it'll go definitely be down to the minimum wreck cost. And since he's been doing a great job of decapping his opponent this entire game, even if he does have to spend that requisition to delay whatever it is he's going for, he'll still be able to get it out at a good time.
We are seeing the Shuriken was going ahead there and bashing away on those Raveners until they decided, well, we're going to go ahead and just Burrow Strike on you.
Oop, there goes one tunnel.
We are seeing a Carnifex is coming out.
A Carnifex, really?
Yeah. It seems like at this point he wants to get out a little sooner rather than later, and actually I've seen a lot of Tyranid players just go for the Carnifex instead of the Swarm Lord, despite a lot of the community's discussion about the Swarm Lord this and Swarm Lord that.
Yeah, I mean, the ability for the Tyranid player to reinforce on the field is something that is new to the community. So whether or not it's balanced or not, I've got no idea because of the fact that, you know, players just have absolutely no idea how they're supposed to deal with that as of yet. You can see the Warrior Brood barely making it out with 50 health.
Yeah, he really did a nice job, though, of moving that around the cover and everything, really making Steve Budd play Ring Around the Rosie with him. Ew, we are seeing a Venom Cannon on this Carnifex? Well, that would definitely explain why we're seeing a Carnifex, but...
Yeah, I mean, they did put it back so while he can move and shoot once again, which is going back to how long ago? I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not even sure.
But I was in a game with Lokar, and he was actually testing it out, and one of the main problems with the moving and shooting effects was that he always missed. Like, his accuracy rate was just terrible, and we were experimenting around with it, and that's not exactly the case anymore. If we watch the Venom Cannon effects, he'll actually be able to put out a decent amount of damage if he does use that move and shoot ability.
Yeah, now the question here, though, is what exactly at the moment is this Venom Cannon Carnifex really going to do more against than it will? Well, actually, it's doing a pretty good job against these Warp Spiders, so... But Haywire's going down, so he's really... The issue now for Kelsey is that he's going to have to protect this Venom Cannon Carnifex. But then again, it may be providing that kind of central focus, right? That kind of the power farm was before. This Carnifex may now provide it, because now Steve Budd has to focus his efforts now on this Carnifex. And we see, again, very good usage of Catalyst going down here. Just trying to get a couple of extra models. Not too afraid that these Raveners are a little low on health.
Yeah, and you can see that the Carnifex really didn't take a whole lot of damage there. That would explain the Barbed Strangler as well, because he's going to be focusing everything onto the Carnifex, which means that Steve Budd's army is going to be consolidating a little bit, so if he gets those Barbed Strangler shots well placed, he'll be able to suppress large portions of his opponent's army while he's focus firing on that Carnifex, and then that's just not going to go very well. Especially with forcing the fusion gun on the Autarch. If he can suppress her, she's not going to do a whole lot of damage, so I actually really like this by Calzi. Not something you see a whole lot from the Nid players, but if he controls it really well, it'll be quite effective.
Well, she does have the shield, so unfortunately suppressing will be tough, but he does have those Termagants for crippling poison. We are going to see a Tyranna formation go down now. He's trying to get the Shuriken down, among other things. It won't give the Shuriken, which I think was his primary target there. Although, actually, this, in the process of retreating, the Shuriken may just be... Oh, and it gets knocked back out to the Central Smite. It's still alive, though! And now that was a mass retreat from everything. Actually, at this point, Steve Budd did not need to mass retreat. Maybe he was knocked off his position a little bit. Maybe that's why he's a little concerned. But basically, the extent of the damage was done at the point by which he mass retreated there. So, not completely sure on the reasoning, because we did see that Calzi force was pretty battered. But in the process here of that entire battle, we see that both players' generator farms just get trashed. We had the Wart Spider Exarch and a couple of Guardians in the bottom left going ahead and doing that to Steve Budd. In the meantime, though, not my bad, to Calzi4. Calzi4 there does have one farm here with a node on it still, so I would say...
Steve Budd's doing a pretty good job of this. Look at that ground shot on the Warrior Brood, just leading the Banshees while they were charging with the Barbed Strangler to suppress them. Did a bunch of damage. Got a Lictor out on the field. Got that Flesh Hook to take out a model as well. You can see he's just doing a really good job. The Lictors in Tier 3, also something we don't see a whole lot of, but making good use of the Flesh Hooks and the Deadly Leap. It's going to provide him a good amount of crowd control
he's
again.
Got to watch that Lictor's going to go down there. We actually have been seeing Lictors a little bit more ever since they changed them to melee heavy and reduced their cost. Has made them quite a bit more viable. But nonetheless, there though we saw a pretty good use of it. Except it did die. A little bit of initiative. We see this Carnifex is haywired. And now we're really going to have to see these Raveners kick up their defense here. They've got Catalyst on them. They're going to go ahead and tie up the Autarch in melee. This Carnifex is down to 40, 30, 27, 18, 16, 4, 3, 2, 1.
He can melee with the Warp Spider.
He goes down.
That was actually really nice because, you know, he had the Autarch tied up. That was his main AV damage there in the area. The Warp Spiders, the squad only do, like, tickling damage, so... was able to get the Exarch over there, just teleport, force melee, even without the power blades. He still does a good amount of damage with his melee hits, and was able to get in that little bit of extra damage onto the Carnifex that he needed to take it out. And as I was saying not so long ago, the focus of Calzi seemed to be get this big Carnifex onto the field, get it the Venom Brood, and then just support it with a lot of crowd control. The Barbed Stranglers, the Lictor, everything else, the Raveners popping up and disrupting things, and since he was able to take out the Carnifex, that's a decent hit to his strategy.
I think it's a massive hit. Actually, we're seeing him rebuild a Lictor at this point. I think basically if he had known in advance that he was going to lose the Carnifex, he would have just gone ahead and saved the Lictor. But at this point now, he's got to look at building another Lictor. We're seeing him do that. He's got to push out. You see the map control is completely shifted as a result of all of this. And now we've got phase shift going down here. What is going to come of the... Oh, Eldritch Storm.
Oh.
And we're just going to see... well, actually, he's going to get most things out here. He's just going to lose one Termagant squad, but Steve Budd...
That was a decent attempt. Like, that's pretty tough to time to see what he was going for there. You know, going for the phase shift and then timing the Eldritch Storm to go off right as it wore off.
He can retreat out and call on the storm, so it's not. It doesn't require as much talent as it at first seems to.
Mm-hmm. So you can see the Raveners getting forced out by the Shuriken in the building. The Warriors are just standing there and taking the Guardian shots, but they're out of arc of fire.
And now they're getting grenaded here, but they are going to be able to dodge that pretty nicely. They're really, really focusing on the Shuriken here. Might be nice to just toss maybe one shot back at these Guardians, suppress them, and...
Oh no! Oh, okay, there goes the Warrior, so he is going to get forced out of there. He's really trying to take out that platform, like he said, and it really was only going to take one or two more shots. So, good job there by Steve Budd, and like you said, he's actually taken back a lot of the map. A lot of the tunnels are gone. So he's looking pretty good for a comeback. He's tier 3. We don't really see a whole lot out of him tier 3 wise, but might see like a D cannon or something coming up to try and deal with the huge amount of shooting on the field.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's at about 440 requisition and about 115 power right now. So he's at about the stage of the game where we can expect to see some sort of D cannon or fire prism or other tier 3. He may just be looking for an avatar at this point, though. I'm not sure if that's what he's really looking for here, but we are seeing that Calcifor is being bled pretty significantly. He's just got a shooty blob here in melee with these Howling Banshees. Now, granted, Raveners are pretty good in melee still, but not necessarily the place you want them against Banshees if you can avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, the Banshees got in there. They suppressed the entire squad. You can see
another phase shift is coming down, and we have... he doesn't have 500 red here, so I'm not sure what this is for. This may actually have been a tactical usage of phase shift as opposed to a cheesy usage of phase shift.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see the phase armor too much, but it can be really useful just to sort of take a squad out of the equation for a while.
Well, we should say we don't see it too much to actually do anything that isn't cheese, but yeah.
Too much outside of the phase shift Eldritch Storm, but the Autarch!
And the Autarch goes
down to the Lictor.
The Autarch goes down. I have to question, though, how actually useful that is at this stage of the game, because we're just going to see phase shift and Autarch call in now.
So right back to that cheesy usage you were talking about. 5 grenades onto a phase shifted squad that's going to get it canceled right before the grenades land. He could, if he finds a high priority target to do that to, he's just sort of sitting there. Oh, he just spent his power, so that's going to have to wait a while. Let's get back to the 50.
Now we are going to see we actually saw the Selector did a pretty good job there of sniping the Exarch on the Warp Spider squad. So a little bit of a, I must say, reverse cheese or anything. I think, especially by tier 3, Fleshhook is quite fine. But we are going to see the Lictor retreat out this time. It gets knocked back by the Banshee melee there, a little oddly too.
It got knocked back by the Synapse Backlash. This Warrior died.
Okay, that would be it then.
The Synapse Backlash caused him to get thrown straight back into the Banshees, and that causes the LOL GG from Calby. Wow.
So we see Steve Budd coming back from the grave just about in that game, really taking back map control and going full tilt to turn things around. And he turned things around before he brought phase shift out, so that is a good thing about all of this.
Yeah, great job being able to focus fire down that Warrior. If you have enough shooting in the area to really just blast down a Warrior, it can cause some good things to happen, like you just saw. Just go straight for that and cause everything in the general area to just get knocked on their ass and take, I think, is it 10% health? It's not a whole lot, but on a high model squad, or on a high health squad, can do a decent amount of damage. But right there, the knockback was what was important, as he got his Lictor pretty much instantly gibbed.
Yeah, it was just barely enough to just knock it right back into the Banshees, and the Banshees at that point are able to take care of business on a retreating unit, which is 30% bonus damage from melee. So, Kelsey didn't really want to abuse the Swarm Lord, apparently. But so he's saying in the post-game chat right now, just going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of an overview of that, maybe give you a bit of insight on what happened there. Kelsey is saying that he kind of felt like, maybe should have gone for Swarm Lord, probably would have been a better idea.
Hey, help me out with that abbreviation.
The Venom Cannon Warrior Brood is what Kelsey felt that he was
Okay.
missing in his force composition there. So that would have been, we saw he went straight from tier 2 to tier 3. He didn't get anything at all in tier 2. He was saying basically grabbed a Venom Cannon Warrior Brood. Now the whole
Yeah.
significance of that is the Barb Strangler is a ranged warrior variant, but it doesn't give you ranged synapse.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. Maybe if he held off on the second group of warriors just to get uh, the Venom warriors in tier 2, I think is what he's saying. And, kind of have to agree because the range synapse there would have done quite a lot with just the huge amount of shooting models that he had on the field.
Yeah, and definitely his really range heavy composition. I think by the end there he had 2 Devour Raveners, and we also saw 2 Termagants,
Yeah.
along with the Ravener Elf and stuff. So
And the
uh,
Venom Cannon effects would have benefited quite nicely from the range synapse as well.
I don't think they benefit anymore. Actually,
Do they?
I think they swapped that up to not have Vex's benefit.
Ah!
But I would have to double check to make absolute certain, but I do not believe they do anymore. I believe that was also one of the things where the Tyrant Guard would be affected positively by Synapse, and they decided, oh, not so great of an idea. Um,
We don't want vehicles with synapse? Oh.
the Tyrant Guard was always really interesting with that, because it could get pretty damn fast. Um, But yeah, so basically that's Kelsey's take, is he felt he should have gotten the Venom Cannon Warrior Brood in tier 2. It probably would have allowed him a little bit of a stronger push there, and definitely much stronger support for the Venom Cannon Vex, which he says then probably should have just gone for a Swarm Lord instead of that. Even a Barbed Strangler at that point. I mean, unfortunately, even with Fire on the Move and stuff, I just didn't see where the Venom Cannon was going to be of huge use there, just because, like,
Yeah.
there were no vehicles out there, and it does decent damage to other things, but it just doesn't do enough, in my opinion.
Maybe he wanted to have the Venom Cannon effects be this you're not allowed to make a vehicle thing just tramping around the field. It's still going to do a decent amount of damage. As you can see, it was able to shoot down Orb Spiders pretty quickly with that Venom Cannon. And while it's alive, then Steve's going to be a little bit tentative to bring out a Falcon or a Fire Prism or anything big that's going to take a lot of damage from it. So, I don't know, maybe like he had a pretty good army composition besides that Fex. Could have just been like, I'm going to make this to make you hesitant to counter the rest of my army.
Yeah, it definitely could have been that, and also could have actually had gone even further back to him not having that Venom Cannon Warrior Brood in tier 2, right? Because then he has no AV on the field, way overcompensates maybe. That'd be a little bit more of a, I would really hope that wouldn't be the case. Venom Cannon Warrior Brood's still accessible in tier 3, just a little cheaper.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a tiny bit. But whatever the reasons, so that's his feedback on it. Nonetheless, a great job to Steve Budd. Did a really excellent job taking that Venom Cannon Carnifex out. Stayed in the game up until that point. Saw his opportunity to really turn things around. Managed to hit the one thing that would allow him to do that. Did a great job of doing it. Then got, pulled out some phase shift at the end. But we saw actually a pretty decent job there by Kelsey in minimizing the impact of it.
Yeah, I mean, he still had one of his Termagant broods alive at the end. And if he was going to try and get himself back into the game, keeping that Toxic Shot available is still going to be helpful even in the later stages of the game. As you can see, Banshees were starting to do a decent amount of damage. If he can just sort of keep one of those Termagant squads on the field just to permanently, constantly go after those Banshees every time they come anywhere near his army, just Toxic Shot it. Try and force them to retreat before they can really get in. People tend to not care about their tier 1 squads as much in those really late stages of the game, but in that situation in particular, having the Toxic Shot still available is pretty nice.
Definitely. So we're going to go ahead and swap gears over here to go ahead and look at a replay. This is Texas Force Commander against Captain Dark Riku as Apothecary. And so originally we weren't planning on having Tex here today. We're planning on having JamusMcgamuS, who was the victor of our King of the Hill on Friday.
Okay,
But
I
unfortunately,
stuck this in my playback and I don't see it.
it is the awesome Space Marine mirror one?
Oh, I think I'm an idiot, and I think I threw it in the beta folder. That would explain it.
Yeah, that
Oh,
that would definitely explain things. So let me just go give you guys a quick overview of this really quick. I haven't actually gone ahead and looked at it yet, so we're just going to do a straight cast of it. We're not going to focus on anything in particular like we usually do in the dailies. We'll resume that kind of daily next week when Lockgar returns. Not that Raelcun here isn't a really awesome caster and awesome all-around dude, but we just decided to, take it a little easy this week. So anyway, we're just going to go ahead and again, Tex is going to be playing Force Commander. Texaneous, is going to be Force Commander, which again is a little something outside of what he usually plays. It's going to do a little different mirror build maybe than we're used to seeing for Space Marines. So I thought it might be interesting. I thought it might be a lot more interesting before we all figured out that Tex would be playing in place of JamusMcgamuS. Not really sure what happened to JamusMcgamuS, unfortunately. According to Steam, he's snoozing. I could certainly see that because this isn't prime time in Australia at the moment. So
it's 8 a.m.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but it would be rather early. So it was a little last minute that I asked even him, to be quite honest. We had a series of players lined up, and eventually we got to our current lineup of players, which is certainly no diss to them. We have a great lineup of players in our mini tournament, which is going on all week here on the Dawn of War 2 dailies, which, by the way, guys, are always 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time through 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe that's 23:30 CET to 1 a.m. CET for all you Europeans out there. So be sure to tune here to iCCup TV2 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday for some Dawn of War 2 action. And Raelcun, you're more really well versed on the StarCraft 2 side of things. So, you have anything to add about anything upcoming there?
Yeah, I mean, we're just continuing to do our usual stuff during the week, usually starting at 7 p.m., which works out pretty nicely. If you're one of the Dawn of War 2 guys, you can see the end of the Dawn of War 2 beta, hop over to our main channel and be like, oh, hey, StarCraft 2, but I got this replay paused at 5.
Alrighty, so we are good to go then. We've got Tex in the bottom left corner, and we've got Captain Dark Riku in the top right corner. And we are going to go in 5 seconds, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we're going to see Tex here is building a scout while Dark Riku is building a tack. This makes a little bit of sense, actually, as far as the focus of both. You see that, for Captain Dark Riku, any kind of more durable unit is going to be really helpful for the Apothecary with his healing capabilities. So we're also going to be able to keep them in the field and, again, help them out. In terms of staying power, one of the greatest issues with tactical Space Marines and kind of almost any Space Marine outside of Scouts is that they have so much health that even when they retreat back to base and stuff, they take forever to heal, and you've got to send them out without being at full health. So the Apothecary, besides from healing them in battle, also is great at keeping them on the front lines. Although Captain Dark Riku apparently does not like the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big map just lengthwise, and it is a little bit laney at the same time as well.
I feel like that's what compensates for it, personally.
Yeah, but, I don't know. I've seen some good Apothecary usage on this map in the past. Of course, when you're trying to control the different lanes at the same time, your whole army isn't bunched up to throw down that Angels of Death into repeated healing wombo combo. So maybe it's just that late game situation where he really wants to go for that. I'm going to heal you constantly, throw an Angels of Death at the key moment and just keep healing and outlive you. It can be a little bit tougher if you're having to cover yourself between the different lanes on the map.
So meanwhile, we are seeing that Tex is going to go ahead here and grab 3 scouts instead and just forgo tax completely. And the Force Commander is going to go ahead and chase this Apothecary around. And meanwhile, Whiplash is going to go ahead and rage his head off, probably at Protoss versus Protoss. Apparently the worst matchup in all of StarCraft 2.
I won't
You
disagree
heard it
with
here
him there.
first.
Yeah, I know that's breaking news to those of you who follow PvP, but if you're not familiar, Whiplash is 5-star General's roommate. So off in the distance, if you just hear random screaming, that means Whiplash is upset about something.
Generally StarCraft 2 related. So thus far we're seeing 2 shotgun scouts. Tex is going ahead here and just doing some general harass.
4 scouts.
And yeah, 4 total scouts.
Wow. I don't know what to say about the quad scout. Like, I've seen triple scout before. I don't think I've ever seen quad scout before.
Yeah, I'd heard that this rifle is a little different, had some new stuff, and this is what I was saying before about when we were watching Tex and Edtjuh about Tex, playing new races, trying different things, breaking outside the orc mold that he's maybe grown a little accustomed to, and this is hopefully one of those games. Well, okay, it's not hopefully, it certainly is. We'll have to see how it works.
We've got a quad scout build on the field, and I'm really curious to see if how many of them are going to have shotguns. Actually, one of them is a sniper rifle.
Yep.
So is the third squad going to go unupgraded? Is the third squad just going to get infiltrate and just ninja cap around? I don't know. Good usage of that knockback just to allow him to keep running those scouts away without having to go for the retreat. But the apothecary is chasing him down, so they will have to retreat anyways. But if he would have been able to get some distance on those flamers with just the knockback and still keep those on the field a little bit longer, it would have been pretty nice.
And we are seeing a great job that these scouts are doing, really an amazing job of decapturing requisition points, screwing around with power. We even saw a nice little gen bash at one point here.
Went after the fully mature rec point right
with the
here.
Force Commander, he's going to go head-to-head with these Assault Space Marines, and he actually is just going to get out of there at this point. You've already seen he's researching the power sword, so he's actually going to look to do better battle cry, basically. So that's a little interesting in and of itself as well.
Yeah, you can see him just turning around and knocking back the ASM and then running a little bit farther, and then he's turning around and knocking them back again. He's just slowly going across the map instead of retreating. He's just trying to do a little bit of damage here to his ASMs, but he is getting rather low. He's going to have to actually retreat here in a little bit.
Yeah, he is just buying some time. In the meantime, though, we are seeing a little generator bash come in from Dark Riku. But the nice thing here, we look at the generator setup here for Tex, and we said he actually had basically even amount of generators here. He had the node on his one accessible power node, right? And then he had a generator in that, and then a node and generator on the other one. And now he's putting 2 generators down here. Very confident he's going to be able to fight this off.
Yeah, I mean, nice usage of that chain knockback from the double shotgun. I was thinking he might have another knockback available soon, but not quite able to hold out long enough. This tac squad did lose a model, and he didn't lose a whole lot of scout models in return. So, I mean, trading scouts for attack, requisition-wise, that's actually not too bad. But these generators, if those goes down, that's going to hurt, seeing as those are 100 each.
Yeah, he can trade about...
the tac squad's in a lot of trouble!
It should get out, unless Alacrity... Oh, Alacrity goes down! He may be able to get him now! He's running, he's sprinting, and he can't get the swing off!
He's got the power sword!
He can't get the swing off! Grandfather Diomedes cannot swing his sword at that tactical space marine. He just can't do it.
Oh my god, he just needed one swing pretty much. The apothecary was able to heal it up just in case. You can see he was worried at the point where, that pretty much made it all the way out, and he was so worried about it, he threw down a heal on it anyway. Force Commander will be able to decap this fully mature natural requisition point. And that's about the second time he's done that, as he got the one at the top left earlier in the game as well, and his scouts are going after that one right now.
We are seeing these Assault Space Marines are going ahead and dueling with 2 shotgun scouts, which honestly is really not what they want to be doing at the moment. Not very efficient for them. If they take any model losses here at all, that will put Riku a little behind comparatively.
As you say that, sniper rifle setting up. Not able to pick off a model. With their low health, I thought the sniper rifle might have been able to take a model out. And you can see the scouts haven't actually lost a model yet, so if he would have been able to snipe one of those...
Excellent retreat timing here, by the way. I just got to cut you off there. The Force Commander was capturing the top victory point, and Riku had just researched Mastercrafted Bolter. He came out, he cast full auto, and just before the full auto actually hit Tex's Force Commander, Tex retreated the Force Commander, thereby nullifying the effects of full auto. His Force Commander was pretty low on health, would have been trapped, probably would have been a dead Force Commander, would have been a huge blow, but instead, Tech's going to be able to get it out of there. He's going to be able to tech to Tier 2, not too far behind Riku, although he's got to hit the button. Whenever he hits the button to go Tier 2, you know.
Yeah, and if you look at the top left, that fully mature rec point's actually blue, and the other natural rec point is about to be blue as well. So Tex completely shutting down the requisition economy of his opponent while he's just on tax. So, I mean, he can replace these tax all day, especially with the help of, the fact that he has his opponent's rec points. And any model losses for Riku at this point are going to hurt really badly.
I'm a little surprised here. We're seeing these double shotgun scouts with Sarges on them, but we're not seeing... we saw like a nice little explosive shot there, but we didn't see a follow-up frag grenade, which is what I expected. Okay, get them on their ass and frag grenade, but a very nice gem bash, by the way, in the meantime by Dark Riku, and we're seeing a couple of scout models go down now. Tex is starting to drop scouts like flies here. His sniper scout is only at one model. He refuses to reinforce it because it's about 60 requisition and 6 power to reinforce sniper scouts now. So you really cannot afford to lose those. Bleeding anything else? Well, we got frag grenades on the retreat path. Time just a little too fast there.
Yeah, just a little bit too early. And I mean, honestly, he had his opponent's requisition at the point that he lost those sniper scouts. So you can go ahead and reinforce those and just use it on your opponent's bill, pretty much.
Well, the issue
seeing as you had his points.
The power cost for him right now. You see that
true.
Razorback is out, and Tex is still teching a Tier 2 here. Now, he does have quite a bit of... well, he just spent a lot of resources on something. We don't really know what yet, because obviously we won't see it until the Tier 2 icon finishes. But whatever it is that he just spent some... Oh, here we go. Librarian is coming out. So you went ahead and go and purchase the Librarian. He's going to have to get these scouts out of here, though. We see he is just trying to continually force off Riku from capturing these back requisition points here. Just continue to hurt his economy as much as he can until he gets his tech out.
Yeah, and he's doing a really good job just making these scouts annoying. You can see that the third scout squad that we were wondering what would happen with them, well, doesn't really have anything on them.
They seem to just be harassed, and that seems to be sufficient for Texaneous needs. So we are going to see our Librarian and a Devastator Marine squad, which is undoubtedly going to become the last cannon Devastator Marine squad.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Like, he really needs some AV, so the Dev squad there is going to be like, that's probably going to get upgraded. The issue is he doesn't have a whole lot of power.
Well, he just spent it all on Tomb of Time.
Here comes
but he
another
need...
Gen Bash. Oh no.
He's just going to lose a node there. Smite is going to go ahead and go down, and but we are seeing the Apothecaries right there, so any kind of Smite can just be healed right up. This Devastator is out. It is building Last Cannon. Remember, Last Cannon doesn't take any power at all. So
really?
Yeah, it's just 75 requisition. I mean, it takes 30 power to get the Devastators out, but once you got the Devastators out, you paid your power due.
Yeah, I thought it cost some power, so my bad there. He's going to be able to get that out, and as you can see, that's, once he shows these... This Razorback's going to have to be really careful. Razorback is pretty quick, but the last cannon has the slowing effect, right?
Yep. So we're actually going to see the Tactical Space Marines come out. Oh, the Tactical Space Marines were coming out to go ahead and try and deal with the Force Commander here and capture this point. And we are going to see this Razorback is just taken out in 2 hits, just stuck in a bad spot. Full auto goes in to try and deal with this Force Commander, but this Librarian's going to come in, and the Force Commander's not going to go after the Apothecary. I'm not quite sure that's the right targeting there. Would have been nice to see him try and go for attack model here, but then again, they're probably not going to be able to get that at this point.
I had a slight bug on my end, as I didn't see the animation for it, but he did use the Veil of Time on that last cannon squad just to allow them to immediately shoot at the Razorback. I'm not sure if that showed for you or not, but
yeah, it's showing fine for me.
Of that ability is it just allows them to, as soon as they stop moving, fire immediately. And as you can see, just the unexpected combination of the Librarian plus the last cannon squad just instantly killed the Razorback. And he was making good usage of that vehicle, so that's a pretty big hit to Riku.
Yeah, now meanwhile, we're seeing Armor of Alacrity, Sprint, and Veil of Time on this Force Commander. That is one fast Force Commander, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I mean, really, Grandfather Dominus has grown some legs, and maybe shaved a few years off of that Veil of Time. Apparently, that's what it does.
Yeah, you can see that these, tactical Marines just keep getting knocked back by these shotgun scouts. He's
And they
made
are,
such good use of these
yeah.
scouts throughout this game. It's quite
We've got
impressive.
2 sniper scouts now, so that's what the other scout squad apparently was eventually going to be turned into. So again, great to see. You were mentioning that we hadn't really seen anything from them at that point in time, and now all of a sudden we see, boom, he's got double snipers in tier 2. This puts Tex in a really great position now. That Razorback was just maybe a little too much there from Dark Riku, thinking that he could go ahead and take the Razorback and maybe plow over Tex in tier 1 or something. He's going tier 3 now. This may be another mistake because, again, Tex has a great force on the field at this point.
Yeah,
He
I
can
mean,
really deal with anything that Raikou throws at him. He's going to be able to take back a lot of map control, and it's not like Raikou is floating like a lot of power or anything going into tier 3. He's still going to have to keep up his generation of resources, which means getting a Land Raider or Terminators or anything else out at this point will be kind of tough if he loses map control.
yeah, and I really like the army composition of Tex. Like, if you look at it, he's got the double shotgun squad, which has been doing an amazing job so far in this game of just controlling the squads of Riku. He's got the double snipers, and then the one main weakness that he had, anti-vehicles, covered with the Veil of Time last cannon squad, can really do a lot of hurt to any vehicles that pop out very quickly. So if he continues to control his army very well here, Riku's options are pretty tough, especially, since if you look at his army, there's not a lot of units on the field. It's just the assault squad and the tax, with his one scout squad that's just running around capping stuff.
Yeah, and that would probably explain one of the reasons why he said at the beginning that he doesn't really like this map. As despite the fact that it is laney, it is rather large. So if one of his squads is forced off, and he's been seeing that it's been tougher for him to keep his apothecary, especially with this 4 scout build plus other units. Tex has really been able to push all of these lanes, push all of this back capping, and just kind of force this apothecary to try and be everywhere once. Oh, very nice job here by the force commander there, getting a kill off on that tack model. And so that's, again, this tack squad has been brought down to 2 of 3 members.
Oh, there we go again. The Armor of a Clarity sprint plus the Veil of Time just makes him zoom across the field like Roadrunner. Was trying to pick off that tack squad, but just had a little bit too much health. I just like this general strategy from Tex, even though you don't really see this at all. It's a pretty much, except for until he hit tier 2 and got that Librarian and Devastator squad, it was a pretty low cost army. So any losses he could replace quite easily, and basically any trades he was making were beneficial for him because his opponent's units are just always going to cost more to reinforce.
Yeah, it does seem like he's walking a bit of a tightrope nonetheless. So, I mean, I think he does seem to be benefiting from the fact that I highly doubt that Dark Riku is expecting this. This is a little outside the metagame to be running with 4 scouts. 3 is usually what you're accustomed to seeing. Now, we do see that Dark Riku does seem to be building towards something at this point. It could be either Terminators or it could be a Land Raider. Either of which...
No. Like, I would assume like Land Raider, just because people really like the on the field reinforcement and retreating to the Land Raider. But if you look at his army, like if he does go for the Land Raider, he doesn't have enough of a standing army to really benefit from that. Like,
we're seeing this Librarian's in a little bit of trouble. He is Veil of Timing himself out, and he actually will manage to retreat out just fine. Now the sniper scouts here are going to need to probably move into a little bit better of a position. They want to go ahead and support this force commander. Meanwhile, though, we are going to see this should be Terminators coming in, I believe.
yeah.
Yep. And now we're going to see this sniper scouts getting hit on by these assault space marines. They're going to have to back out and retreat, which they should have no problem with here, unless these Terminators are going to look to teleport on top of them. Maybe not. They're just going to go ahead and capture the point there.
Yeah, and I do like this choice a lot better than the Land Raider, because, I mean, the Land Raider really helps support an army that's already got a good standing presence on the field, just by the fact that you retreat to it and you reinforce there. It would really help Riku cut down the size of this really big map that he's really annoyed by, but he just didn't have enough squads to really benefit from that. So the Terminators are going to help out quite a bit. Nice usage of the shotguns again on these assault squad.
Yeah, we are seeing the assault squad almost just completely neutralized here, although the Terminators are going to teleport in and just go ahead and deal with that right quickly. But yeah, I mean, definitely the issue with the Land Raider here, it would be really nice But the problem is you've got to keep it constantly supported. The second that it's not supported is generally the second it dies. We are seeing the Assault Terminators coming in for Texaneous. So maybe this actually, as we're going to see here, this Terminator squad is going to try and get Assault Cannon. But we're going to have a little bit of a duel here, and if the Assault Terminators get into melee with these regular Terminators here, they should not have an issue. Although we see the Force Commander is backing out, he is going down. This Librarian's got to stay alive here. He's got to be really careful about what he does. He's going to go ahead and Veil of Time. He's got to get out of here, and he goes and Veils of Time himself as well. It's a lot of Veil of Time going around here.
Yeah, and here comes the Terminators. They're getting pretty close. He's actually going after the Apothecary. Wants to try and force that into retreat so he can't heal the Terminators. And now these Terminators are in decent amount of trouble. They will have to teleport out, but one of them got knocked down.
They actually end up teleporting right on top of the Sniper Scout squad and just murdering it. So that worked out pretty nicely for them there.
Teleport from Tex going straight after the Assault Terminator squad again. Or the Assault Cannon Terminator squad.
This is quite aggressive. You don't see it very often because a lot of Space Marine players don't like using teleport offensively because Terminators can't retreat.
The lightning claws too, as he teleported on top of them.
That is going to allow them to do massive amounts of damage to these Terminators. We see this is just they've got a little bit of charge, but they're not quite going to get their attached Space Marines with plasma. I don't know if they necessarily had to be forced off by that, but they wanted to play it safe. Remember, at this point in the game, there's really no reason for Tex to take unnecessary risks. And actually, he's coming up behind here. This is okay, he's just going to go ring around the Rosie with this a little bit here. Maybe buy some time. He's got the 2 shotgun scouts. So if he get them up there, he can probably help suppress and knock back these plasma attacks and everything. So certainly, the snipers are just going to melt under this.
Oh no!
Down they go. But, I think they serve their purpose there with exactly what they're intended to do as far as decapturing that power. Just overall, really hurting the economy of Riku here.
And and if you look at Riku's army, there's not a whole lot that can be sniped at this point anymore. So he's probably not too concerned about keeping those alive. They're really just ninja capping. If you look, I mean, he had to stop and take his natural requisition back again as it's back at +10. They'd been doing a really good job of that, but look at this. The Assault Squad coming in onto the shotgun blob, doing a good amount of damage, almost taking out one of those shotgun squads. Coming pretty close. If he can get one of those shotguns off the field, that would help him a lot, because Tex has been making excellent use of the double knockback this entire game.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised here, actually, that Tex is still holding on to this power sword, honestly. I would have expected him to upgrade his Force Commander with a little something bigger than that, maybe. But nonetheless, he's not, and it still seems to be working all right for him. Meanwhile, we've got Veil of Time back on these Assault Lightning Claw Assault Terminators, that is.
And I still can't see that, so you're just gonna have to keep pointing out when he veils stuff, because I'm just completely bugged and I don't see the animation at all. But
very
really
nice jump from these Assault Marines here, right onto the Force Commander. He's gonna go down from the Assault Cannons there. The Librarian now is gonna have to get out of here as well. He's in a bad spot. He's not taking almost any damage. Okay, now he is. He's moving out. He's got to retreat, and he will retreat. Oh, the retreat path, and of course just decides, nope, don't want to go the way that I was going, which would still be a valid path. Turn around, go back into the melee. We did see one Assault member go down there, but and actually, with Riku's power where it is, that could be pretty big, because Terminators now cost 100 power to call in. We are seeing Riku is finally getting his Librarian, though.
Oh no, he's gonna catch these Assault Cannon Terminators again, force that teleport defensively, but he's still gonna have to get these Terminators out of here as they're charging in. Might be able to take out another model if he's not careful.
He's got Plasma Attack support coming up, though, and he does put down a heal. The big thing here is that Tex does not have his Librarian up here supporting these Lightning Claw Assault Terminators, and now we're going to see the Librarian of Riku come out here and just lay down a smite. This is coming a little close, a little aggressive. In fact, we may just be seeing Tex suicide. These Lightning Claw Assault Terminators trying to kill these.
He might get the squad, though. 200, 300 health left. Just a couple more.
He gets them down. He takes them out.
Can he teleport out? Does he have the cooldown? I believe he can teleport out right now.
But he
this actually isn't as dangerous as it looks, but he's going after the Librarian too. Oh my god.
Out and he's going to get
There's
out.
the teleport.
Oh, man! And with just one incredibly aggressive move there, Tex, I mean, he's not even a Space Marine player by trade, or at least as far as we know, and yet displaying great knowledge of just how far you can push Lightning Claw Assault Terminators. Then again, though, I guess when you've been on the other side of them that many times, maybe you pick up a little bit more than you like to admit. And they're turning around and engaging again. At this point, he recognizes there isn't much he can do, although I'm surprised he's not going after the Tactical Space Marines. Maybe just trying to deal with this capping squad, possibly thinking that maybe Dark Riku will sacrifice it, and in fact, it looks like he might, which might actually be a much bigger mistake than losing a model or two on tax.
Yeah, and I mean, the Librarian is trying to come up just a little bit too late. He was on the other side of the field. Can he get a Veil of Time down on the Terminators?
Nope.
No, just not able to get there soon enough. If he brought that Terminator up to the Librarian up to that side of the field sooner, as he was all the way down on the bottom side of the map after retreating, he definitely would have been able to get a Veil off on them and maybe been able to save that squad. So he wound up trading his Terminators for his opponent's Terminators.
And a Librarian, so as long as he can keep his...
Librarian too,
yeah.
So
and Tex is quite a bit higher in resources, so we're actually seeing he's at the point where he can get a Land Raider anytime he wants. Now, the one thing that's kind of missing from Tex here, and this is kind of maybe a little bit where we kind of go into and say, oh, okay, well, Tex isn't a Space Marine player by trade, right? Is Gate of Infinity would have allowed him, and we do see the Land Raider coming out now, Gate of Infinity would have allowed Tex to get those Lightning Claw Assault Terminators out of there a little more effectively. So in the meantime, we see that Dark Riku is bringing down more Terminators.
the carry just went down.
Yeah. And we're seeing actually the Assault Space Marines in a little bit of trouble from this Force Commander now. The Terminators should be able to save them, but...
to revive the Apothecary, and it might die again immediately. No! Just barely able to force the Force Commander away. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's actually pretty impressive there that he had enough red to actually go ahead, call down Terminators, and then use Laraman's Blessing to revive that Apothecary. And we see that the victory points here are pretty low on both sides. Just Tex 123 for Tex and 31 for Dark Riku.
Tex saying that he might have lost this point. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, he's got that Land Raider almost out, but the issue is the third victory points going towards Riku. So he's going to have to really make a concentrated push down the field, get these victory points back. But if he can make good usage of this Land Raider, he can just aggressively push across the map. The TAC squad, that's not a whole lot of AV. Like, they will hurt the Land Raider, but it won't take it down immediately. And Terminator Squad doesn't have the assault guns yet either, so...
Well, they don't even really have, even with the assault cannons here, not the most effective weapons against this Land Raider. So we are seeing some good ninja capping here going down from Tex to try and hold this game out here. He's got that Land Raider moving up. He seems to be trying to move it up in such a way here that he doesn't really tip his hand until absolutely necessary.
Oh, he's about to show.
Here it goes. Here it comes.
It's going straight after the TAC squad with that, getting the into range for the flamers on those.
And in fact,
if
he
the
can
squad goes down,
should be able to pop Frag Grenade up. He's not going to be able to get them down.
And I don't know. Has he been using?
Oh, Assault Terminator's out too. Whoa.
All in this game, because I haven't seen the animation. That could just be the continued bug.
Dark Riku just has not had the red to use Angels of Death. Actually, he's really been trying to focus on getting those Terminators out, and you got to get that second squad out now too. So we see Lightning Claws coming out again here for Tex. This is again an even game. In fact, inching towards Tex.
Look at what he's doing. He just called down the Terminator squad onto the victory point, just sitting them there. So there's no way that Riku can get this victory point back. He's getting the point bleed one at a time. He doesn't even really have to do anything. Just protect this victory point, and he wins.
And it seems like that's what's going to happen. We're getting the GG come down from Tex. The kind of, for those of you guys more familiar with StarCraft and stuff, you'll see a lot of times in Dawn of War 2, you'll see the winning player GG, and it's because... whereas in like StarCraft, it's like, oh, well, there could be like some building in some random part of the map that could take me over an hour to find, right?
Yeah.
And, technically it's not GG until then. But Dawn of War 2, the only way to play is victory points. I mean, Annihilation doesn't exist. And, basically you can just look at the victory point counter and go, well, this is a good game, so I can initiate the good game, and we both know who won, so.
But for players, from StarCraft where that's considered a little bit BM, basically what Tex is doing there is saying that you did a great job, don't feel bad, that was a great game. Sort of a sportsman-like GG at the end instead of Oh, I got you, GG.
Yeah,
That you're familiar with from the StarCraft scene.
yeah, it's perfectly fine and okay in Dawn of War 2 to do it.
Especially with a game like that good, that back and forth. If you look at it, it's 29-0 right at the end, so very close. And it basically came down to the fact that Tex had the resources available to call down a Terminator squad onto that victory point. If that wasn't there, I think Riku would have won the game. Like, if he was short just a little bit, especially after going for the Land Raider, I mean, that's a pretty big resource investment. It's not out of the question that he wouldn't have been able to afford those Terminators at that point. But that might go back to the early 4 Scout Squad really cutting into Riku's economy in the earlier stages of the game.
Yeah, we definitely as well saw that Riku just wanted to power through Tier 2 as quickly as he could, and after he got that Razorback out, the second he saw, oh, Razorback's not working, try to go Tier 3. It's kind of what we talked about really briefly, was that, as much as he did that, and was trying to get the Terminators and whatever else. The issue with that is the second that you go, oh, I'm getting beaten Tier 2, let me go to Tier 3, but you're teching now at a time when your opponent has a superior force on the field that's basically allowing your opponent then to just go ahead and take some map control back, which in Dawn of War 2, map control effectively means resources, and, the resources are your macro. That's basically what factors into your late game and what units and everything else you're able to pull out and when. So we saw that Tex came into Tier 3 a little later, but once he got to Tier 3, because he had established his base of resources and such, he really didn't have much of a problem staying there and contesting Riku every step of the way.
Yeah, and he even had enough money. You don't see that very often where, Riku was going for the normal shooty Terminators and going for the assault cannons. He had enough resources standing by to just straight up counter him with the assault squad lightning claws both times. And a lot of players don't necessarily go for that because
you can only go for it with Force Commander.
Yeah, and I mean, well, if you think about it, against the Librarian player, with the heal and the other support abilities that he has there, especially with the Librarian that was on the field there for a short while, if you're not able to straight up counter his Terminators with yours, you can be in quite a little bit of trouble when you go for that.
Yeah, it definitely, makes that asymmetric component, right? You pull in your assault Terminators, and all of a sudden they're different from your opponent's Terminators. You're not fighting on the same terms. You require different situations to be successful. In this case, I think it was absolutely the right choice, because if we go ahead and we just switch over to Riku's force composition really quickly, we go ahead and we look at what he had. He had a scout squad that wasn't really upgraded, just capping. He had the tactical Space Marines, which went ahead and switched over from Flamer to Plasma the second they saw Terminators. Good move by Riku. That's a proper move, obviously. And the expected move, too. You've got to expect that if you're pulling out anything that would, benefit Plasma. Then we had Assault Space Marines, and this is kind of where I go and say, this is why Assault Terminators were the right choice, because otherwise it would have allowed Riku to really use his Assault Terminators, his Assault Space Marines, to go ahead and just introduce that extra component against Tex's regular Terminators to maybe allow Riku's own Terminators to have work a little bit better. Basically, I guess one of the other ways to put it is that Riku put a lot more into those early squads, the TACs and the ASMs and stuff, and so the late game Tex had to look to do something a little different and kind of make up in that area of melee, and he definitely did, and he used everything else really well. The scouts kept capping. They kept being a huge nuisance to Riku. I can't tell you how many times we saw a TAC squad retreating with 1 out of 3 members left because they ran into 2 shotgun scout squads. The one where
that top left requisition point that was the wrong color for half the game because those scouts were up there constantly.
And I guess probably the one thing I would really like to see from Tex, again, I'm not even sure. Maybe he's tried it already and he's just, this is what works better. But it would be interesting to see, though, would be those 2 shotgun scouts in this matchup instead of focusing on the double explosive shot. Because he's getting Sergeant on both of them, to maybe go for the explosive shot, and then you've got the unit knocked on their ass. You can just plant the grenade right there. You know where they're going to be.
Yeah.
They can't really get up. They can't really dodge it. At that point, they're just kind of generally screwed. And grenades do a fair amount of damage to Space Marines, guys. I've gone triple like Sarge Scout builds myself, and then have like Assault Space Marines chasing me, and I'll just like spike 3 grenades while I'm running, and the Assault Space Marines like, oh no, can't move.
And since the fact that you have 2 squads, you can have one squad throw the grenade behind the squad, the other one knock them back onto the grenade. That's a pretty much guaranteed grenade spike right there. Since you have the 2 squads, you don't have to worry about timing it perfectly. Just grenade, knock back right onto it, boom, and then you can do it again because you've got another grenade, you've got another shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to wait for a little bit of energy. But yeah, I mean, you can basically, I think it would be a little bit more efficient use of his abilities there. I think both abilities are like 60 energy, and they only have about 100 energy, so you can't do it back to back. It's the reason why you can't just do it with one shotgun scout. But I guess the point is, if you can do it once, and then maybe like half a minute later, you can go ahead and do it again, as opposed to having to wait like a minute or two for the cooldown on explosive shot on one squad or both squads to go ahead and free up.
Yeah, as well as like if you do that like once or twice successfully to your opponent, he's going to see the double shotguns running at him, and he's going to have the fear of God from those scouts. He's going to suddenly be respecting the fact that those 2 shotgun scouts are going to do a ton of damage if he doesn't stay the hell away from them.
And these are your capping squads too. So when you can inspire that kind of fear in your opponent for squads that really, even in Tier 1 here, we saw that they were Texas' main fighting force, and yet they were still primarily just capping. So when you can inspire that kind of fear from just your capping squads, that allows you to just free up so much map control, because you can go around and cap stuff, and then you can be like, you thinking about disturbing me? You thinking about disturbing me? You better not disturb me.
You want a piece of this? Do you want a piece of this? These are scouts. We're going to turn this around on you, but really, I have to go. Thanks for having me along. I got to get my other cast going.
Yeah,
and
no problem.
iCCup number 1.
Thank you, Raelcun, for subbing in for Lockar.
Yeah, it was fun, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, same time. My cast tomorrow doesn't start until 8, so I'll be able to stay around a little bit longer and chat about funny things afterwards, but I really do have to go, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Alright, yeah, and I will be signing off as well. This is 5-Star General, so tomorrow we're going to see, I believe Calzifor actually will not be here, so we're going to see a double shift from, well, the schedule's a little skewed now because I got to go put text in there, but we'll see who we've got a double shift from. And we'll have 2 games tomorrow again, and we'll go ahead and look at probably another replay. And then Wednesday, basically the same thing. And Friday, we will have the finals for the mini tournament. So you guys all want to be here Friday, and actually should be here every day before then too. But Friday especially. So we will all see you tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 23:30 CET.
See ya.
See you there.